What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. I'm back once again with a brand new video review as we're set to go ahead and get into The Penguin. That's right, the limited series coming to us from Matt Reeves, The Batman Crime Saga. We get our official spin-off series here, a Max original in The Penguin. Now, episode 1 dropped last Thursday. They do have a weird sort of release schedule for The Penguin. Episode 2 will not be releasing on Thursday, but instead it will be releasing this upcoming Sunday. So it's like a week and a half sort of wait. So Sunday, September 29th will in fact be the second episode of The Penguin. It's one of the reasons why it took me a little bit longer to go ahead and do the review. I felt like I had a little bit more time to certainly check it out before feeling too rushed for episode 2 to certainly go ahead and drop. But I finally got the opportunity to watch it, and man, I can see what all the commotion is certainly about. Look, I am a big fan of what Matt Reeves wound up creating for the Batman. I absolutely love the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and the idea of him having sort of this epic saga sort of in the back of his mind and all these stories that he kind of wants to tell in this particular grounded world. I've been so fascinated with. I was a really big fan of Matt Reeves' work on the previous Planet of the Apes trilogy, and I was really interested to kind of see how he would take that level of writing and bring it over to something like Batman. But he's made this fantastic noir style, this fantastic world that I certainly want to go ahead and visit, especially after the Batman movie. And so this Penguin series takes place about a week after that. After the big, after like the river walls and the sea walls kind of came down, and Gotham is certainly now flooded a little bit. So this takes a week after the movie The Batman, and we get to follow the Penguin really in the beginning stages of his rise to power in here. And man, so I was really looking forward towards this particular season, this series for a really, really long time. I believe it's just a limited series, but who knows? I mean, if this season continues to do incredible numbers like it certainly did for its very first episode, who's to say that they really don't ask Matt Reeves, please, can you develop a second season for the Penguin somewhere between Batman Part 2 and Part 3? Who certainly knows? We'll see what happens by the time that we wind up getting there. But I can tell you, man, first impressions, first episode, absolutely incredible. I mean, first and foremost, anytime you can get the song working 9 to 5, like literally in a television show or even a show as dark as this one certainly is, you have like a success on your hands when you can go ahead and just throw that random song in here and it actually really worked for this particular week's episode. One of the things that stood out to me, and I'll get into sort of like the dark side of this episode. One of the things that stood out to me that despite the violence and the penguin's intentions, a crazy daughter of a mob boss kind of showing up, as dark as the episode certainly was, there was a little bit of a charm, and that charm certainly came between the relationship between Oswald and Vic in this episode. Now, I don't, for a second there's a part of me that wants to think that this is Victor Zsasz from the DC Comics. I think we've seen Victor Zsasz in other iterations as well, whether that be the Birds of Prey movie, if I'm not mistaken, and also Gotham as well. So, look, I don't know if this kid will eventually turn out to be somebody as crazy as a Victor Zsasz, but when he calls him Vic for some reason, if I'm trying to connect it to a DC comic character, that's who I immediately think of. But he could just be simply an original character for the series, especially based off of some of the liberties that the showrunner is certainly taking. So, I'll be interested to see how this relationship brews between them. But the idea that despite, you know, Cobblepot or Oswald Cobb, as they certainly calling him in here. The fact that he's, you know, he gets triggered at the thought of somebody laughing at him or not respecting him, right? The idea that he initially thought to off this kid and kill him, take him out of his misery. He's the only witness to this murder sort of thing. Take him out sort of mentality. Despite having that mentality, it seems like there is a soft spot that he's kind of grown towards Victor. Victor's certainly coming through, showing his stripes, showing the fact that, look, I'm involved. I want to be a part of this sort of thing, and really, showing his worth sort of thing. But, there is, I don't want to say an innocence, but It's not like he's like a cold-blooded killer, you know what I mean? Like just to kill somebody, or at least maybe he is. But when it comes to this kid, that certainly doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, the small talk in the car, clearly trying to give this kid some advice, grabbing the Slurpees with him towards the end of the episode. There is a charm to the relationship that I kind of dig, and kind of want to see how that evolves and what he teaches them and what Vic certainly learns and picks up from, being a part of this world now, sort of thing. So I really did appreciate that about this episode, that despite all the craziness and the darkness and the death, that there is something charming, that can make you smile, and a bond that can grow sort of on screen that I could definitely appreciate. I say this all the time. I am a fan of not only like father-son relationships, but just male relationships on screen in general. Like I love seeing those kind of showcase. I just think those are very important to showcase. And so I really dug it, really dug that aspect of this week's episode. But man, performances all around to everybody in this cast. I mean, Colin Farrell continues to blow me away as the Penguin. Christine Milioti, who plays Sofia Falcone in here, just drop dead incredible. To be able to switch from that soft side to everyday sort of socializing with you to just batshit crazy, like just ex-girlfriend level stalker crazy. The serial killer vibes all day with the big eyes and the tilting of the head and then getting really serious in your face, like really frightening stuff. And the fact that Milioti is able to literally flip a switch like that so crazy, so quickly, from either smiling to dead face or dead face to smiling, it leaves chills. And so I can appreciate Colin Farrell's performance opposite of her, of being like, yo, this chick is crazy, or that, just the idea of like, are you gonna get out of this situation alive, sort of thing, right? So I just thought they just brought their A game. Have incredible chemistry on screen with one another. They're fantastic opposite of each other as well. And he had a little bit of time in here, but Clancy Brown and Salvatore, I hope now that the Penguin has kind of set up this plot, if you will, to make it look like um, um, Salvatore or his family took responsibility for the killing of Alberto in here. If we do get sort of a Sofia Falcone and a Salvatore sort of feud going on here, mob world wise, I do want to see more of Clancy Brown. I thought Clancy Brown did a fantastic job in here, also. So great stuff, man. The opening sequence of this, first off, I love the beginning portion of this episode in which they had sort of the news report, in the sense of like, if for some reason you didn't happen to see the Batman, you at least understand what the final act was, and the situation that Gotham City certainly finds itself in. So I appreciate sort of like the last act recap of the Batman and the way that they did it, with also with the great directing and the great cinematography and shot selection of just seeing Oswald in front of the sunset, sort of thing. I just thought it was a really beautiful opening, and a way to really sort of set the stage for what we're about to go ahead and get into, and give us a nice time period also to understand there. So I thought that was brilliant, but also setting up the episode before the main title comes up of Penguin killing Alberto. I just thought it was an incredible monologue from the Penguin here, from Colin Farrell, as he talks about one of the mob bosses that he remembers kind of growing up in his neighborhood, right? That idea of Alberto trying to figure out, what type of leader or mob boss do I certainly want to be? Do I want to follow in my father's footsteps? Those are some really big shoes to fill. And I really appreciated Colin Farrell's just performance in here and telling the story of the idea of there being different levels of power, how you personally want to be sort of remembered as. And so this really gave us incredible insight in regards to just the Penguin's mindset of who he wants to be, right? And how, if he did have power, how he would probably certainly go about using it, clearly for corruption and for his own purpose. But he seems like he's definitely somebody that wants people to acknowledge him, right, and recognize him and be able to help people out in order to for them to kind of give him that praise and worship and being one of those type of mob bosses that will eventually be celebrated. And so I just thought it was a really great sort of monologue from Colin Farrell to set the tone for who the Penguin is, his mindset when he talks about power, what power kind of looks like for the Penguin. And then so to have somebody like Alberto just kind of laugh in his face, I gotta tell you, when the Penguin pulls out the gun and just shoots him down, my jaw hit the ground. Like, I did not expect the show to kind of come out of the gate swinging like that and really leave an impact. Like, I was literally speechless. And as quiet as the scene was after that moment, I was taken in that moment too. And I thought the performance choice for Colin Farrell, I'm kind of curious if that was even in the script to have Penguin laugh, or if Colin Farrell decided to improv that and add that laugh in there or not. I don't know, but it was a fantastic touch to kind of see a darker side of the Penguin in that particular moment of laughing at the death of somebody, in a sense of like, yeah, kid, you really deserve that, you know. And then he kind of comes back to reality. But incredible performance in here all the way throughout for Colin Farrell's character. But the first 5 minutes of this episode really went ahead and just sort of set the tone for the remainder of the show, of this particular episode, to be quite frank with you. So from that to carrying on to Sophia coming through, being introduced. I love this concept of, at least in this particular week's episode, the idea of, you know, like a murder investigation, you know, trying to figure out who the killer for Alberto certainly was, in the sense of Sophia's motives here this week. But incredible performances all around, and definitely high praise for episode number 1. So I'm looking very forward to seeing what episode 2 is going to be like, the moves that the Penguin certainly makes, how that relationship and bond and partnership between him and Victor certainly continues to grow. And really, I hope Sophia is in every episode this season. I hope she definitely has a big part, because she really helped carry this episode as well. But look, guys, at the end of the day, these are simply my A plus opinions. I always want to know yours. Great soundtrack too, great musical vibes. I'm really loving just this world that Matt Reeves and the showrunner for the Penguin has in fact created. But I want to know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And until next time, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.